Speaking of January camp, the U.S. team is in Southern California ahead of not one but two friendlies in the L.A. area. Wednesday, it'll be the United States against Serbia from BMO Stadium, formerly Bank of California Stadium, home of LAFC. And then on Saturday, from the home of the Galaxy, Dignity Health Sports Park, it'll be the United States against Colombia. 24 players called in, 13 could make their senior debuts in the first games of the Anthony Hudson era. For more on camp, let's call on somebody who's actually there on the ground in Southern California, Paxten Aaronson, formerly of the Philadelphia Union, now, of course, of Eintracht Frankfurt. Paxton, welcome to the show. Great to have you here on Futbol Americas.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, happy to be here.
All right, so give us the vibe. What's going on in this camp? I mentioned 13 players who could make their senior debuts, plus we got a new coach, so a lot of new faces. Describe to us what y'all are up to.
Yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of young, hungry guys trying to make a good first impression on the new coach. But I think it's a really talented group of a lot of new faces, which is sometimes really good because they bring a lot of hunger, they bring a lot of ambition, and they're always kind of pushing the level to try to make that good first impression. And a lot of guys can make their senior team, including me, debut. So, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. And hopefully I can make that impression to make my first cap.
Paxton, big European move, your first call-up with the U.S. men's national team. What are you feeling at this moment right now, this moment in your career?
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of emotions, but the number one thing for me is super excited and super thrilled. You know, like you kind of said, a lot of things have been happening for me in these last couple months with the big move to Europe and now getting called into my first senior camp. But it's been nothing short of exciting for me. I'm a kind of player and I'm a kind of person that loves the challenge. And yeah, it's just been great for me.
All right, so if this last name sounds familiar, it should. He is, of course, the younger brother of Brenden Aaronson. I'm wondering if, Paxton, Brenden gave you any advice before this camp and generally kind of what your relationship is like. Is he a mentor? Is he a rival? Like, what's that like?
No, he's for sure a mentor. Yeah, it's always nice just getting to bounce ideas off of him. Always just communicating after his games, after my games, just always asking questions. And of course, I called him, texted him before coming into this camp. He kind of gave me the rundown of what to expect. But for him, this was a super important camp. This is what kind of kickstarted his national team kind of status, and he told me the same thing. This is where you can make a extremely good first impression, and if you do it the right way, this can set you up for a lot of success. And it's obviously a huge cycle for the U.S. national team with the World Cup coming here in 2026. So he said if you do it right, this could set you up for a lot of success, like he did for himself. So yeah.
You know, I've heard your brother Brenden actually talk about you, and he actually said you're going to be better. I'm curious. I'm sure you've never heard people compare you to, but I'm curious from your perspective, what similarities, what differences do you see? How are you alike? What do you mentally and physically are in the game?
I think we obviously have a lot of similarities just because we were kind of raised and kind of crafted and molded to the same techniques, the same craftsmanship, because my dad was obviously our mentor and he kind of taught us everything we know. But I think obviously there's some differences between us. Of course, we're both like really quick with the ball. We obviously work and run a lot. But I think for me, positionally, I think I'm more of a like true 10. Like I like to kind of stay higher up the field and kind of just get into those really good pockets where it's like I get the ball and then it's 1, 2, 3 touches and then it's a pass to make the killer pass. Brenden can kind of do it all, but he's also like a crazy workhorse, which I try to take from him. But yeah, there's definitely some similarities, definitely some differences, but yeah.
All right, clearly we have to credit Mr. Aaronson, right? He's the mentor, but we should probably also credit the Philadelphia Union Academy, because it's not just the Aaronson brothers that are coming out of the Philadelphia Union Academy. First question, Paxton, is Philadelphia Union the best academy in all of Major League Soccer? And if it is, why? What's going on there?
Of course, I have to back my hometown club. I think in recent years, it for sure has surpassed a lot of the other academies, and I think it for sure could label itself as the number one. But of course, there's other fantastic academies that have produced top players, like the likes of FC Dallas. They're always a big part of developing young guys, and they've done a great job. But I think recently and over the last several years, Union has for sure made that push to claim at number one. What they've done, the recruiting processes they have done, and how they've handled me, but a lot of the other young guys coming up through the ranks, it's been truly incredible. And I mean, I saw it firsthand, the way they handled me. The academy guys like Richie Graham, who run the program at the lower levels, who run the school, just the setup they have really sets young guys up for success, and that's what you've seen over the last however many years.
Our studios here for Futbol Americas are in Los Angeles. There was a big game in LA, Philly versus LAFC. I want to know a few things, Brenden. One, have you recovered from MLS Cup? And two, what, if anything, did you learn out of that? Because it was so chaotic. One of the best games I've ever seen when it comes to an actual final in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, for me, that game was heartbreaking. It was a crazy game, like you said, a really crazy experience for me, being so young, but being able to given the opportunity to play in such a high stature game in the MLS Cup final, where some guys, maybe don't ever get the chance to play in the final. So I was so grateful to play in that. But there's always some things that you can take away. I mean, they obviously, LAFC have world-class players, so there's only so much you can do. But I mean, just closing out the game. But I mean, there's a lot of things you could have done maybe in the moment, but at the end of the day, it panned out like that. It was obviously heartbreaking, and of course, I wanted more for the guys, for the Philly fans. But I have no doubt that they'll be back and that they'll bounce back, because they're a group of really hardworking guys, great coaching staff, and I have no doubt that they'll be back.
What an experience it must have been, Paxton. Speaking of experience, this won't actually be your first time with the national team, your first time with the senior team, but we know you quite well from the youth national team ranks, especially this under-20 team that we kind of all fell in love with last year. Tell me about this U20 squad, because you guys were not just good in CONCACAF, you were dominant, and I don't think we've really seen that before.
Yeah, I love those guys. I love that team, really, truly. When I go and play with that team, I enjoy every second of it, on and off the field. Being coached by Mikey, the assistant coach is Sean. I really, truly enjoy every moment of it. And playing the way we do, playing the style that we play, it's obviously super enjoyable for me. And the tournament I had, of course I had a good tournament, but I think the team around me and what we did set me up for all the success I had in that tournament. And I'm looking forward to hopefully being named to that U20 World Cup roster. And yeah, I think we have a really talented group, and I think we can do big things in that.
The U20s, the Olympics coming up. You were obviously voted the best player in CONCACAF at that U20 level. You've seen this group, which was the best team at the U20 level. Give me a name, maybe a name that people haven't heard, don't realize, that you think is going to have just a ridiculous career. Maybe a Jack McGlynn, somebody of that nature who...
Can't pick yourself.
Well, you can't pick yourself. I actually thought we'd see Jack McGlynn here in this January camp, but I'm sure they're saving him for that U20. Give me a name.
I mean, I was going to say number one, Jack McGlynn. Another one, Alejandro Alvarado. I think he's just one of those guys that kind of goes under the radar because he's not the one that gets on the score sheet or makes the killer passes all the time, but he does the dirty work for the team that sometimes goes unnoticed, but that every team needs. You know what I mean? When I was playing, just having him kind of winning the second balls, winning those tackles, being that kind of guy is so crucial to a team. And he also has the end product, which is amazing. And Jack McGlynn, of course, he's like my best friend. So he has tremendous amount of talent. I mean, a crazy left foot, crazy IQ on and off the ball. So, yeah, he's going to have a tremendous career.
Paxton, before we let you go, I got to ask about the big move to Eintracht Frankfurt. One, why Eintracht Frankfurt? And two, what were the other options? What else were you considering?
So I'll start with why. I mean, Eintracht Frankfurt kind of came to me from the very beginning, and once they kind of told me the plan that they had for me, they were only the really club that I had in the back of my mind that me and my family were set on, just because how they approached me and how they kind of handled my situation with the recruiting they did for me and how the plan that they gave me. You know what I mean? How they told me that I fit into their system with the 2-10s they play. It was just nice to hear, and it just felt like they really wanted me and that they had a plan for me for the future. And they were just a top club, obviously Europa League reigning champion. So getting the opportunity to go to a club like this of this stature, it's only going to make me better, a better player, better person off the field, and learning from guys like Mario Götze every day in training. It's just going to increase my level. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to, just learning from these guys and just, taking it all in.
Obviously, you want to take it all in. You want to learn. You want to get better. But Paxten Aaronson, what goals does he have for himself? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to achieve?
I think it starts with this camp. Wanting to achieve my first cap for the national team would be a dream come true. Getting that good impression like I spoke about, because this is a very important camp for a very important cycle. And then back at my club, I think I had a 10-day preseason in Dubai. That was really good for me. We had 2 test matches against Leipzig and Lech Posen, a Polish team, and continuing to show what I can do, continuing to show that I belong at that level, and then slowly chipping away to make the roster, then slowly chipping away to make my first team debut. And then maybe it's my first start, but slowly chipping away and becoming the player that I want to become, and then making an impact at the top level.
All right, there he is, Paxten Aaronson. Good luck Wednesday night against Serbia, and good luck this season in the Bundesliga with Eintracht Frankfurt. Great to have you with us on Futbol Americas.
Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure.
Herc, what do we call him? Mr. Futbol Americas Jr. or what?
No. What a nice guy. This is the type of players you like to root for.
Absolutely. There we see his heat map from his time in Philadelphia. Paxten Aaronson about to potentially make his senior debut with the U.S. team.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.